Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Haven. I'm a third grade teacher and a third grade ELA teacher. And I'm going to make a video on things I wish I knew before I started teaching. I'm going to be reading from my little book. This is a notebook that a student gave me during my student teaching my first year. And if you see me like look into the corner, it's because I'm in my classroom and it's after school and like people come, we have janitors that come in like the afternoon to clean our rooms, and like I'm scared somebody's gonna come in and see me talking to my phone. But anyways, so I'll start out now. This is my first full year, but I started in January of 2022. I had a unique situation. Well, I think it's more common now than it was a few years ago, but I had a unique situation where my college and a school made an agreement where like I could have my own classroom and I could complete my student teaching at the same time. I would just have a co-teacher, but I really didn't have my co-teacher in there with me a lot. So I learned a lot of things that I thought would work, like that I saw on Pinterest. I found out it didn't work. I learned a lot of things. So technically it's been a year that I've been a teacher. I was certified in May. So I didn't get like teacher pay until after I graduated and I started my current job because I moved schools. So I was only with that school from January to May. So the first step is to, when you teach and when you plan, pretty much I think anything you do in life, you should be intentional. And it's really bugging me that my whiteboard is that nasty, but my markers just make it dirty. I just need to wipe it. But be intentional. I think you really need to be intentional with anything that you do, whether it's how you speak to people, what you do, plan, teach, anything. You need to be intentional. You need to have a purpose in what you're doing. Let's see, number 2, start out with groups ASAP. Now, not like the first day, but maybe like the second week. I don't know about the school that you're going to be at, but at my school, my current school, the first 15 or first 20 days, I think this year we did 15, the next year I think we're going to do 20. The first 20 days we don't do any like actual curriculum. Like we do some ELA stuff, some science, social studies, stuff like that, but not actual journeys. Like our curriculum is journeys. I'm going to take I have loop earphones in because I have really bad anxiety, and loop earphones, they're noise reduction and they help a lot. So I only keep it in one ear, just it helps me not get so overwhelmed with my kids. But I would say start maybe the second or third week, just so they can get in the routine of how procedures are supposed to go. Next one is don't forget to plan a day for, this is just for me. We use INB, which is interactive notebooks, and in this, like I made this to be like something I wanted to read next year and years to come. But we use INBs, which is interactive notebooks, and something I found was that the first 15 days we set up our INBs, like we put what INB was for what, like writing, grammar, phonics, but I didn't make a table of contents, and that's something I learned at my one of my student teaching placements, but I didn't see them make it. Like by the time I came in, they had already had them and been using them, and I was with 4th graders then. But I would like to do that like the first 15 days, like get them to make a table of contents for their INB or their interactive notebook and have an example. And to add to that, I don't think I have this in here, but have an example of everything that you want them to do. If you want them, like, if you have a cool activity you want them to do, like, and it's coloring or something, have an example, because they probably gonna make it look crazy if you don't have an example done for them. Let's see. Focus a lot on family and social emotional things the first few weeks. Like, if your school is great as mine, I love my school, very thankful for them. Take that first 15-20 days, if they give you that, to focus on affirmations and being a family and how important it is to be kind to one another. Next one, have an attendance chart next to desk. It makes it easy to quartile. At my current school, we do attendance quartiles. We do quartiles for everything. I'll turn to one that's not used yet. Like for February. And then, so like, I do it for both my classes. So like on the 6th, if somebody's not here, I'll write that student's name down. So like if Monday, if they're missing an assignment, or if they're not here on Monday, I know like what assignments they missed. So that helps me keep track of everything. Let's see. Next one is always make your own copies of things when you send something home, like report cards, like meeting invitations. Make a copy and put it in that child's folder. Also, that's another thing, I didn't put it in here because I already do it, but I know like this is my remember for next year. But have a folder for each student, like that you keep their personal things in. I think it's called a portfolio. Keep that in there to keep all their things, like parents send you notes, absent or not absent, any graded papers, report cards, anything, keep it in there. Next, make sure we start with strong routines and procedures and expectations. I did not do this when I started out last January, and it was really hard starting in the middle of the year because like I can see now that because it's January 2023, we've already been back for 2 weeks from our Christmas break. I talk a lot with my hands, I'm sorry. We've already been back for 2 weeks, and since my kids are already established with me, they know me. Like, we didn't have to do the get to know me stuff, but like we did go back over our routines and procedures. And it's very different from like last year. I came in and my kids from last year didn't know me at all, and now my kids that I had since August, they know me. So it was very different, but even then I should have started with strong procedures and routines, and I didn't. So that's something that's really, really important. And I feel like really now, after being a teacher for a year, I think I have a better grasp on it. Not like the best, but better. Next is make sure you have a plan for everything that you need done, like a procedure, routine for everything. Make sure you have a plan for what the students need to do when they're done with their work. Let's see. Start off the year with affirmations and put-ups. That's something we learned with Capturing Kids' Hearts. A put-up is like if somebody were to say something ugly to me, they would have to give me a put-up like you are good at, or I like that you. They have to give you a compliment pretty much. Start off the year with strong behavior management, and give it time. When you start out with consequences, give it time to work. And now if it's a few weeks and it doesn't work, try something new. And then remember your teacher, not their friend. Now, I love the saying, like, kids don't learn from somebody who they don't like, but also you still are an adult. You are the adult in the room. You need to make sure that you have strong consequences, because they will run you over if you don't have strong consequences. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need, or don't be afraid to ask for help, because I did that and I was scared to ask for help, but I had to learn that I'd rather be ask for help than to get something wrong, because I like things to be clear. I like everything to be clear. Don't spend too much money on your room. It doesn't have to be perfect on the first day. If there's chairs and there's seats, you're good. Now it's nice to have decorations, but don't spend so much money that you like go into debt, because I spent a lot of money, and pretty much a lot of money that I did not have, and I racked up some money on credit cards because I spent that much money on my classroom. Also, you can post your classroom wish list on Facebook, especially if you're about to graduate. And just in general, like this year, starting in January or August, I posted my classroom wish list. Like, okay, we're starting a new year. If you'd like to donate to my classroom, I'd really appreciate it. And a lot of people donated. Work on communication with parents and team members. Like, make sure you're communicating, you're being a good team player. With parents, make sure you call before open house. That sets a good tone for your relationship with the parents. And it gives you a good heads up of things that you need to look out for. Something that I had to learn was that kids will be kids. because of the school that I worked at previously, I'm still having to, I like to say, heal from some trauma, because I was treated like a horrible teacher just because my kids were being kids. Like, we had some unrealistic expectations, and I have learned now, because I have an amazing principal now, and she has helped me so much. And sometimes kids are just kids. Like, it's hard for them to sit still sometimes. Sometimes it's hard for them to be quiet. So not getting so frustrated so easily, because I used to get in trouble because of the way that they acted. And like, still I would get in trouble if they were like off the wall crazy, but like sometimes they're just gonna be kids. Then also start off writing right away with your children, because I'm really struggling with that. Writing is a big struggle for me as like teaching it, and I'm trying to learn to do better with that. Be organized, to make sure you have a place for everything. Also, with being organized, don't overbuy. Like, before you graduate, before you get your classroom, don't buy anything before you get your classroom. Like, you can set money aside, but don't buy stuff that you don't know where you're going to put or how you're going to use it, because I'm looking at a little thing hanging on my wall, a little organizer that has folders in it, but I have yet to use it. So don't waste your money on stuff that you're not going to use. Don't stay past your contract hours, and I know I'm literally staying past my contract hours right now, but I'm not doing work. I'm doing something for YouTube. And I do stay 3 days out of the week, but I get paid to stay because I do after school, or I teach after school program. Also with that, don't take homework. I feel like when I do take homework, I very rarely ever do it. If I do take it home, I'm pretty much not going to do it. Like, that's why I just don't take it home, because I'd rather be watching TV, relaxing, or completing stuff at home that I need to get done, or spending time with my girlfriend and my dog, or just with my family. Because something that I realized, a little off track here, if something were to happen to you, you would be replaced that day. Your classroom will continue on without you. Who would be hurting is your family and your loved ones. And then another reason is, at my old school, I used to get there at like 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. It's 5:30 at the latest. And then I would, sometimes the earliest I would leave is 6:30 at night. One time I set off the alarms because I stayed until 8:30. Just because my to-do list was so long. And then one day I needed to leave for a doctor's appointment, and I just, like, we could leave, our kids got out at 2:30, we could leave at 3, and I needed to leave. Oh man, my lights went off. Hold on, let me get up. I'll be right back. Sorry. But we could leave at 3 or 3:15, and I wanted to leave at 3 because I just needed to get to my doctor's appointment on time. So I was like, hey, I clock in at like 5:30 every morning. Can I please just like go like 10 minutes early? And they were like, no, because you decide to do that on your own. We don't make you come in that early. And I was like, got you. I'm not coming in that early anymore. And like, all these to-do things you need me to do, you need to pick like what I need to do, or give me more time, because like cover my class, because I don't have enough time to get all these things done and teach all my classes. Okay, so help me out here. Like, prioritize what I need to do within my time that I have, and then if I can't get it done, then it's just not going to get done. Here's another one. You won't make friends with everybody. At my old school, I was friends with everybody. It was a very small school. I learned here, and I love my experience here. It was amazing. I've learned a lot, but you won't be friends with everybody, and don't take it personally. Like, if they just decide to be ugly to you, that's fine. Just don't be a friend, because I'm not going to be friends with with mean people. And like, I'll be nice to them. Like, I won't be ugly, but I'm not going to tolerate them being mean to me. Also, when I just said don't take things personally, especially like student scores and what people think. Like, with student scores, I say that because, one, you can do as much as you can with making a student pay attention, but if they don't put in the work, their grades are going to reflect. Because I teach, I teach differently from my morning class to my afternoon class, but that's because like they need different things. But I teach, like, I just teach a little extra to my morning class. But even if, like, pretty much I teach the baseline the same, and then my students who need more, I give them more. But the students, I can tell, like, in one room, the students who are not paying attention and who are goofing off and I have to constantly get on to, their grades reflect. And the students who I don't, that get taught the same material in the same room, have better grades. So don't take it personally when their scores do not reflect totally on you. Now, if the whole class fails, you might have not taught it the best you could. And you know what? Own up to that. Because I have owned up to it, and like if I haven't taught something the best that I thought I could, then I retaught it, and I didn't give them, like, just this week, I didn't give my kids a test because I felt like they weren't ready, so I waited another day. Set high expectations for your kids, because I think last January I started out with a really, really, really low group, and I just like acted like, I didn't act like they couldn't do anything, but I was like, they're just too low for that, they can't do that. And so it pretty much, like, I feel like it hindered them in a way. And like they could have done so much more. And so like a little bit into it, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start pushing them a little harder, and they accomplished so much. So set high expectations for your kids, and then don't be afraid to get things wrong, because you're still learning. I feel like 30 years from now I'll still be learning new things. And because one of my observations, I was teaching, and I think I was teaching writing, and I hate teaching writing because, well, I need to get better at it, so I'm trying to learn to be better at teaching writing, but my students just were not grasping it, they weren't getting it, and it was like, I was just freaking out because I was getting observed, and like I've had a lot of trauma with my last school, and like getting things wrong and like just being shamed about it. And my principal, afterwards, we had a meeting because we always meet after our observations, and she was like, I saw you panic. You were like, oh my God, I can't get this wrong in front of her. And she was like, you can get things wrong. I want you to know that you can get things wrong so I can help you learn to be a better teacher. And I love that. She's an amazing principal. Love her. And then another thing is if your students can do this, like do a task, let them, like sharpening pencils, stapling papers, fixing the chairs, like stacking chairs, unstacking chairs, fixing the desk. Now, like, don't be letting them grade papers, because like, you know, you can't let them grade papers or grade each other's papers. But if they can do it, let them help you. Let's see, have your emergency sub plans ready to go, because there was this one time where I was in a lot of pain, and like I was like had to call out at like 3 in the morning, and I was in so much pain, but I had to make sub plans. So like I was like bending over, shaking, I was hurting so bad, and I was like trying to type my sub plans, and I was like, I literally hate this. Like, I'm in so much pain, and I hate that for teachers that we have to do that to just be able to call out, but because like at other jobs you don't have to do that. So, but you have to do what you have to do, but have sub plans so if there's an emergency you don't have to freak. And that goes with, if you're sick, stay home. And then I know that some principals, some administration is not as understanding and want you to take care of yourself. Like I've been in that situation, like my old school. You were made to feel ashamed. Like one time I almost passed out in front of my kids, and I was made, like they made me feel guilty because I needed to leave. Like I had to go home. And then if you say something, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And that goes with consequences and rewards. Pretty much kids probably won't let you forget rewards, but they'll let you forget a consequence. And I say this because the first semester of this year, and I think last year, I really had this trouble with my morning class. Like if they did something, they got a consequence, like a few minutes on the fence at recess. But with the afternoon group, it's like you kind of forget, like if they get in trouble like the next day, so they would kind of just do whatever they want to. But like I'm doing better this go around with consequences, and I do that because I have a little notebook that I carry around everywhere, and if they go, like right now they can't go out to like their normal playground, so they go out to the courtyard, but they also get silent lunch and they hate that. They hate silent lunch, so they've been doing better. Laminate, if you're going to use something like the next year, like especially decorations, stuff like that, if you're going to use it again, laminate it. Or like task cards, if something that the kids are going to use that's not like them writing on it, then laminate it if you're going to use it again. And then my last one is don't wait to put grades in, because one, it lets the parents know a good bit of time ahead what they can do to help their child. And then also, sorry, I was putting my headphones or earplugs back in my desk, but if it like lets parents know like how their child's progressing in your class, and also just so like you won't get behind on things. And I learned this last year, like when we started putting in grades at my old school. And it was one, because I didn't know how to put in grades there, like nobody had showed me. So I just had a record of the grades like on paper, and then like when it was time to put in grades, I was stuck there for hours like putting in grades. But here at my school now, you have 2 weeks to put in grades. Like if you give a test on like a Friday, 2 Fridays later, you have to have those grades put in. And I feel like that's a really good rule. It gives you enough time to like plenty of time to put them in, and also like for parents to have enough time to like help their kids if they're not passing. But yeah, I'm hoping that this year for 2023 that I can really put a lot of work into my YouTube channel, and have a lot of teacher content. That's really mainly what it's going to be about, my life as a teacher, really what it's like. And I plan to put out a video every week, whether it's a vlog or a different type of video around teaching content. And I mean, I'm my first year this is my first full year teaching. I guess I started in 2023, so I guess I'm going on year 2. But, and I'm not perfect. I'm still learning a lot. And also, here's another tip: always be flexible. Things change very fast. But I'm still learning. So if you have any tips that you would like, if you've been teaching for a while and you're just watching this for fun, and if you want to give me any tips, that would be great. I'm always open to advice, and I would love to hear from you. And if you stayed this long, thank you. Bye.